All right, good evening. It's 9:30 on the Thursday, the 10th of September, and this is day 4 of the Fat Loss Focus Challenge. So this morning I put in what should have been yesterday's video. I did that this morning, and so tonight I'm continuing with the schedule of planned videos that I had, and today I want to talk about, is cardio essential for fat loss? Now, it's quite sort of ironic or maybe coincidence that I was writing some other emails for another program I'm running, and there was in there I did a case study, and the case study was for one of my clients, or former clients I should say, by the name of Nathan. His testimonial is on my website, bkmnutrition.com/testimonials. And on his the issue he was facing was he was trying to lose weight, trying to get a six-pack, and he was doing a lot of cardio, he was doing a lot of training, he was eating into a calorie deficit, and he just wasn't getting the results he wanted. He was overtired and overstressed, wasn't really looking forward to his workouts, and generally was a bit fed up. So what we did, we looked at everything he was doing, and we found out that actually he was essentially overtraining and overexerting himself, and he was doing this by doing more cardio. Now, it's quite a sort of I suppose a nice place to be, that you don't have to do cardio, but the reason why Nathan didn't have to do cardio was because his NEAT activity was so high. Now, I've talked I think in the last couple of videos about NEAT activity, measuring steps, measuring your daily activity, and this is why it's so important to measure your steps, because I've worked with a couple of clients who are incredibly active in their daily jobs, and Nathan had I think it was something like 20,000 steps a day, because his job was, I think, site manager at a building site. He was walking around a lot every day, lifting and carrying stuff, and doing manual stuff. So his NEAT, his non-exercise activity thermogenesis, was through the roof. He was so active in his day job that he was burning a ton of calories by simply just working in the day. And I've worked with other clients. I have a client at the moment who's a post lady, and she has upwards of 20,000 steps a day as well. And I've got a few other clients who are fairly active, and those people don't need to be doing cardio, or maybe not as much cardio, or very little cardio, because they are so active in their day job. Now, it's almost like a given that when we start a diet, because it's eat less, move more, that's the thing that people push, is that we should be doing more activity because we're trying to lose body fat. But actually, sometimes doing that can be counterproductive. And remember, I talked in the last couple of videos about calorie deficit. So you have to reduce the amount of food that you're eating, or eat less, I should say, than your expenditure. So if your expenditure is here and your eating is here, this is at maintenance, we need to drop our intake of food in order to create the calorie deficit, and then that burns body fat. However, what some people are doing is, because their activity is so high, and so what they do is they're at this level, so they're busy in their day jobs and they're eating to accommodate it. And then what they do, they want to lose body fat. So what they do is they add cardio here to increase their activity, and then decrease their food intake. So now this calorie deficit that's left is so high that actually it's counterproductive, because the body starts to fight back against that level of deficit. Because if you think this through logically, the body will recognize that there's such a drop in energy levels that if that was allowed to continue for longer than a week to 10 days, what would happen was eventually the body would burn through its body fat stores, and then it would be left with going to muscle, and then potentially other things in order to maintain that level of activity. And the long-term scenario for that is you would die, because you wouldn't have any body fat, you wouldn't have any muscle, you would just be literally running yourself into the ground. So the body does have certain defense mechanisms against this, to stop this happening. It plays with your mind, makes you more hungry, it slows down your activity to make you lethargic. Now, there is a certain amount of willpower, and I've worked with clients who have incredible willpower. Nathan was one of these guys who was so committed to eating right and so committed to doing his training that he was actually just coming to the gym and just working against his body, which was telling him to slow down and to eat more food and to do less activity. So it was making him incredibly tired, incredibly lethargic and demotivated to come to the gym. All these are classic overtraining signs. Now, the problem with overtraining is that after a while, because you haven't got enough protein in your system, because you might be burning it up for energy, it can affect your immune system. So you actually become more prone to illnesses and infections. So what the worst case scenario here is that you pick up a cold or something else, and because you haven't got the immune capacity to deal with it, you may develop a pneumonia or something like that. So, excuse me, which is quite common if you see in performance athletes who've been pushing the needle as much as they can to get the most out of their performance. Some of them do end up quite ill afterwards because they're so committed and so determined to win the cup or the trophy of the competition, is that they end up pushing themselves into being ill. And we also do this in our work life sometimes. If we push ourselves to work and overwork ourselves, we also get into that situation. So it's important that we don't go into a situation thinking I must do cardio if I'm on a fat burning mission. Now, what we've been doing this week is looking at the STAR challenge, so restricting a little bit of your calories, because certainly no one on this challenge is probably in that situation where they are under eating so much or overdoing the activity so much that they need to restrict cardio or to increase their food, because in Nathan's case we actually increased his food as well because his activity was so high. But it's worth remembering that the more you get into the dieting thing and the losing weight thing, the more results you see. It is quite common, and I've done this with clients before, is that clients who are losing weight and who are making progress, they want it to go faster. So what they do is they increase the calorie deficit or increase their output, or both. So what was happening before was a very light calorie deficit where they lost weight and was losing weight quite easily, and their body was accepting that, and they very quickly go into a situation where they are pushing the body to the limits with too high a calorie deficit. So it's important to remember that while you may not at the moment be in the situation where you need to cut back on your cardio or to watch how much food you're restricting yourself by, it's important to remember, if you start getting results, which hopefully a lot of you will start to be seeing soon, and I've seen some people today who are losing weight already. Well done to you guys. And obviously everyone else who is focused on getting their STARS challenge, your results will come. I'm very sure of that. It might be that you're not needing to cut anything out at the moment, but as you get better and you start to get results, there is the risk of thinking, oh, I could get results faster if I did this thing, and that's normally what tends to undo people. So we have one side, we have people who just don't follow the diet, and then, oh, why am I not getting results? Okay, you haven't followed the diet. And then the other side, people who are super, super motivated and doing all the stuff and doing the diet and doing the steps and doing the activity, and they're not getting the results either because they're overdoing it. So you've got to find this happy medium in between where you've got enough calorie deficit and enough activity to keep your body in a happy state where it's quite reasonably happy to lose some body fat and not put you into a crazy state of mental illness at the same time or risk your health. So is cardio necessary for fat loss? No, if your daily NEAT activity is quite high. And no, if you're in a sufficient calorie deficit from food. Now, what I would say is that doing a bit of cardio is probably good for your health overall in terms of your cardiovascular health and just keeping you moving and keeping your joints nice and supple and nice and active. So I would recommend you do some sort of activity. Personally, if it was me, I don't like doing cardio. I prefer to do weights and do more reps and more sets. And if I was going to do cardio, I would do stuff like well, I got a tank at my gym. It's like a sled that you push. I would just push that up and down the studio for about 10 minutes and put some weight on it. So it's a weighted cardio, more HIIT cardio. So find something you like doing. Don't just do, I mean, I used to do 45 minutes to an hour on the stepper twice a day when I was getting ready for shows. I can't say I enjoyed that, but the motivation, I had the motivation to do it, but it was tough. And I probably wouldn't recommend that for anybody. Although I did get incredibly fit doing it. I could run up quite easily a building set of stairs afterwards, but it's not for everybody. So find cardio that works for you. Don't overdo it. What I would say is if you're doing any form of cardio, if you're getting past 45 minutes to an hour, it's probably too much. You're probably going to be pushing yourself to a situation where maybe you could do that cardio a bit faster to get it done sooner, or maybe you should be looking at your food perhaps to reduce that a bit more. But again, you need to be assessing these things and assessing your steps every day. If your steps are over 12 to 15,000 a day, it's probably very unlikely you need much more cardio a day to lose weight. Certainly if your steps are 20,000 a day, like a few of my clients and Nathan's were, I would say you don't need cardio. Just get in and do some weights, build some muscle, because you're already doing your cardio by walking around all day. So something to remember there. Although we want you to get results, or I want you to get results, I should say, I want you to improve your life. Don't overdo it. It's something very quickly go the other way and make you actually resent doing your diet and resent doing something which is good for you. And that's the path to coming off your diet and binging. So I hope this was helpful. If you are watching it back, please put comments below. I'm happy to answer any comments. There are a few videos on the YouTube site now with which have answered some of the questions that people have raised. I have got plans to do more over the next couple of days. Tomorrow is Friday. I have Jacob for a full day, so I won't be doing any videos apart from maybe one first thing in the morning. But I have all weekend free, so I will be doing some video content over the weekend to post over the next few days. So if you're watching this back on the YouTube and watching it at a time that isn't September, and you're doing the challenge for yourself, please let me know how you're getting on with that. Post in this Facebook group. The link will be in the comments on YouTube. And if you need any help, please let me know so that I can give you some help. This is a free challenge, and I'm happy to help out for free. Just I won't write your diet for you. That's stuff I get paid for, so I won't be doing that. But health and nutrition, always happy to help with that. Okay, have a great evening. Thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.